Sleepovers and paranormal games like Ouija go hand in hand, because apparently nothing screams great night in quite like summoning something that you can't get rid of. People swear that these games can open doors to the spirit world, but for every brave soul eager to test them out, there's a long list of warnings, possessions, demons, and things way darker than you'd ever want lurking in your home. But Ali H wasn't buying into any of that superstitious crap. He figured it was all fun and games, until the air turned ice cold, the vibes went straight to hell, and he realised maybe, just maybe, those old wives' tales weren't just stories. Left to his own devices, Ali decided to try a cocktail of paranormal games, beginning with something called the Red Book Challenge. A game of Mexican origin. To play, you need, you guessed it, a red hardcover book, but also a lit red candle and at least one other person to play with. You ask the book if you can play, close your eyes and point to a random sentence in the book and interpret the answer as either a yes or a no. Afterwards, you follow this format of asking questions and pointing to the answers. But you're not allowed to leave until you've asked for and received permission from the spirit. Now, the rules vary depending on who's written them down, but they're the basics, and Ali gets right down to business. But the spirit doesn't seem to want to play along.
And whatever sentence I get, I have to read it and I have to interpret it. If I interpret it as a good thing, then it's like, yeah, you can enter the game. If I interpret it as a bad thing, then it's like, nah, you ain't playing. The book that we are using is called, what is this book called? Of Blood and Bone. It's very fitting. I want to know why Mary decided she needed to crush my head with a weight. Essentially, she tried to kill me. I want to know why. So, that's what we're gonna do. Go. All right, here we go. Something in her quivered. Something in her steeled. There are 6 of them and 1 of you. I'm just gonna show you guys that was a line that I read. Oh, and the candle went out. That's odd. That seemed very negative to me because it sounds like I have never read this book before. So. What? No.
After a more than clear no from the Red Book, Ali freaks out and, if you notice, never got permission to leave the game.
Oh, did I get on camera? Okay. Sorry guys.
For some godforsaken reason, he decided that his best bet after that scare was to run and grab a Ouija board to place on the kitchen side and get back into the game, but it appears the damage was already done. He closed the game properly and turned in for the night. But then, all hell broke loose.
7X, or I had it, but it's completely fried now. I had a whole bunch of footage. It's literally fried. It's dead. Okay, Google, turn off bedroom.
The time stretched into stupid o'clock territory, and at 2 AM, Ali was wandering around his home trying to figure out what the hell was going on. After no joy, he got back into bed. But when he woke up the next morning, he felt off. He felt as though he knew something were happening right in front of his eyes, but he couldn't see it. Remembering the security camera, he ran down to check the footage, and what he saw sent shivers down his spine. Of all the things to spell out, it had to be one of the most terrifying. It's a good job his partner went to her mother's that night. All of that might have been enough to make her pack up and move to another country. Hey, a poltergeist told me that you enjoy scary videos like this, but don't subscribe just yet. We'll earn your subscription by the end of this scary compilation. Number 6. Family business. There's nothing more terrifying than a family home surrounded by old legends. With so much history being contained within 4 walls, you never know what flavour of tragedy or sheer horror could reveal itself. The guys over on Dark Gate Aura were able to find a house with those very fables, and they set up camp after many requests to try and establish contact with whatever dark presence was permeating the area.
3 تا شمع به علاوه یه دونه بخور و تمام چیزایی که این موجود از اون خوشش میاد و داریم استفاده می‌کنیم دیگه. اینم خاموش شد. خوبه. من زیاد تکون نخورم که اگه این چراغ روشن شد متوجه بشیم. خب محمد دست بده من بریم واسه داستان.
They set up cameras in the dining/kitchen area, the children's room, and one show in the living room. They pulled out all the stops to catch something, including putting flour at the doorways to catch footprints, audio equipment, candles, incense, the lot. After practically begging the being to show them some kind of life, they got what they asked for, and started to regret ever setting foot in the house in the first place.
اگه از شیاطین هستی یه نشونه به ما بده. ای موجود ماورایی هستی؟
شنیدی؟
آره
برای فرکانسش بیشتر میشی
محمد بی خدا یه چیزی بستم و تکون برد.
یه قرمز شد.
The EVP software responded yes when asked if it was a demon, so not off to a fantastic start. More things began to unsettle the pair at the table. They began to jitter and feel the cold air twist into sharp points as they tried to regulate their breathing, which was when this happened. Yeah, we can already hear you typing out the comments about unbalanced weight causing the ball to roll onto the floor, but the table looks pretty straight to us. And also, check out one of the replays that shows the ball falling from head on. What is that weird shadow rushing past the ball and behind the camera? It clearly knocked the ball off as it flew towards the guys, but what the hell could it be? Just as they'd relaxed slightly after that, they heard some commotion coming from the kids' room, and this is what their camera caught.
اگه با بچه
اصلا شوخی نداره.
this being really wants to play ball, huh? Something, or someone, is zipping through the house in the form of a horrifying, shadowy ball and trying to do what? Get them to kick it back? Whatever it is, it seems more than happy lurking in doorways and watching fear fill the faces of whoever lingers inside for too long. Number 5. Hairy situation. Solo camping in the woods either sounds like a dream come true to you, or your worst nightmare. For this guy over and under the weather, there's nothing more relaxing than taking on the elements in the Scottish valleys armed with his waterproof fold-up equipment. But during this specific camping trip, the survival element became much more present as the night went on. Everything was going according to plan, aside from some spilt milk.
Be gone! I'm gonna switch you off and then eat this because it's gonna be a messy business. So, see you after. Right, I think that's me ready to settle in. Trying out the new bag, which says pretty cozy. I think I'm actually going to be too hot. That's about it. So,
He got the fire going, made some food, and settled into his sleeping bag. But he didn't get the peaceful night's sleep that he was hoping for.
good night. Good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Hello? 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 Now the thing is, I'm kind of on an island here, so there's river on that side, river on that side. It's very hard to get down here if it's a human, that is. Hello? Typical, now I can't hear a thing. Right, I'll turn the light off.
Whatever that small sound was, he brushed it off in the beginning, opting to think about how difficult it would be for anyone or anything to get to where his tent was situated. So he turns off the light, ready to doze off again, until this happens.
I've got a knife in here. I've got a knife. I've got a knife. Right. Well, that definitely sounded like somebody there. But there's no one here. Every time I come out, it's empty. Unless I come out the fucking river. I don't even think. No, because as I said, I'm basically on an island, so there's no way that anyone could actually get it. Jesus Christ! What? Hello? 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 Jesus Christ! Fuck that. Hello? Heard that noise again. It sounds like somebody laughing outside, but I have no idea. Huh, unless it's the kelpies. Oh. Hello? Right, I might have to leave. But I can't leave, so I'm stuck here for the whole night. If I don't make it, this is my last will and testament. right? You're the last person to see me alive. Yeah. So they say, how did you sleep? I'm like, great. Like a psycho with a knife. Good night. Good night. Good night. What the hell was that? Oh, it's just my pillow. Right. Come on, you big scary cat. That's it. Ah, screw it. Lights off. Oh God. What a night that was. Oh, that was terrifying. It sounded like hysterical laughing that woke me up. Yeah, I just heard people, somebody, noises around there.
After managing to get through the night sleeping with a knife in his hand, he wakes up unscathed at 8 AM and says that he thought the noises were that of human laughter. But a lot of commenters said that they thought the noises sounded like vicious growls. And to make matters even worse, he says that he also heard noises coming from one of the rivers surrounding him. Now look what he saw on the other side of the riverbank.
Some bird is gotten rather unfortunate. But as expected, everything seems in order. Yeah.
Not saying it all points to there being a werewolf in a secret Scottish glen, but it sure seems that way. Number 4. Kelvedon Hatch. The blood-curdling clip you're about to see was filmed and sent to us by Adam, who comes right from his YouTube channel, aptly named I'm Just Adam. He'd had one spooky evening exploring an abandoned bunker used during the Cold War, known as the Kelvedon Hatch secret nuclear bunker in Brentwood, Essex. It was decommissioned in 1992, but has since been reopened as a tourist attraction come paranormal hotspot. It's that area that has even been used on television in shows like The Murder Game and even an episode of New Tricks. With such a rich backdrop to sink your teeth into, Adam and his friends were certain there must be at least some kind of ghostly happening somewhere inside. After tiptoeing around the tunnels and rooms, they found themselves in the old male dormitory and wasted no time getting comfortable.
It does definitely feel colder. I also had a theory like that when we asked...
Hang on. Oh, that's definitely another group. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. If that had been banging without words, I'd have been like weird, but they were doing some kind of haka upstairs, so
Rhythmic chanting.
correct.
But after 5 minutes in there, something happened that froze everybody solid.
But no,
Was that you?
Nope.
Was what? Who?
I haven't touched that blanket.
That blanket just moved.
But no,
Was that you?
Nope.
But no,
Was that you?
Something touched that pink blanket. In the message to us, Adam mentioned that at an angle we can see some kind of shadow move in the shadow of the bed and knock the blanket, but he swears up and down that nobody was there. He says, I can say with all honesty, no one touched the blanket. We were all stood away from it, and no one was on the beds. Strange. In the first angle, it looks like you can see something move the blanket, but there was absolutely no one close enough to touch it. He also mentions that the woman in the video, his friend Charlotte, was fine with the investigation all the way up until the blanket moved, and then she wanted to get out immediately. She could have just been generally spooked, but could she have sensed something more sinister inside there? Adam and the team managed to get another angle of the blanket moving, which just left them scratching their heads even harder.
But no,
Was that you?
Was what? Who?
I haven't touched that blanket.
That blanket just moved.
But no,
There may have been a breeze, but the bunker's decommissioned, so the vent above the cameraman doesn't work, presumably, and they're in an underground bunker There's hardly going to be much wind, perhaps uneven flooring and uneven weight, but surely then the blanket would have slipped onto the floor and not just flapped around like it had been flicked. If you want to make your own conclusions though, we urge you to go and watch the whole video over on I'm Just Adam's channel. Huge shout out again to Adam and his team for recording this and sending it in. Number 3. Finders Keepers. While wandering through the woods, this guy stumbled upon something he could only describe as bizarre. There on a tree stump lay an old cassette tape and a religious statue wrapped in a rosary.
This is exactly why you don't bring home random objects that you find in the woods.
For some reason he decided that grabbing hold of both items and charging straight home with them was a stellar idea. He put the tape right into his cassette player, and naturally the audio came from the 7th layer of hell.
Yeah, no thank you.
But obviously, that was where the fun began, because he sensed a pair of eyes burning a hole straight through his bag. And when he turned around, this was what he saw. Now, if you want our honest take on this one, it just looks like he got his dad to hide behind the curtain and then edited him out. But if this really is paranormal as he claims, then he's lucky that that's the scariest thing he had to deal with after picking up random haunted forest loot. Number 2. Trash talk. Taking out the rubbish is one of the most hated chores across the nation. But what does the actual rubbish think about it? Well, in this video posted on Reddit, it seems to show the soul of the rubbish bag making a run for it. Maybe all those bumps and bangs you hear in the night are simply the ghosts of bin bags past. All jokes aside though, what the hell could that actually be? While it does just look like a bin bag on legs, some Redditors took the clip and slowed it down, showing nothing much aside from the fact that the figure is completely transparent. Some comments on the original post are relatively suspect of the fact that the camera seems to be buried among a pile of washing up, and that it isn't a security camera, it's just a camera. Who sets up a camera in their kitchen to record themselves taking the bins out? Do you think it's a bit sus, or is that figure an indication that something much scary is going on inside that house? Number 1. Daily visits. While checking over the CCTV cameras at the hospital he worked at, this guy noticed something strange on one of the cameras. For weeks on end, he would regularly see the same phenomenon take place right in front of his eyes.
Es un fantasma, no lo va a captar.
¿Has visto? Mira cómo sale. ¿Has visto dónde ha salido? Caminando tranquilamente con brazos y piernas.
Félix tiene que salir de dudas.
Pasa, che.
He says that at first he thought it was perhaps a fellow colleague or a wayward patient, but how on earth would they vanish into thin air as they walked? It could be camera quality and compression issues, but the place the figure comes from is a GP office that is locked every single night and checked routinely, so there's no way that they could be hiding in there. The staff member sounds pretty relaxed about the whole situation, but apparently that's because he sees and senses many strange things while he's working. Let's just hope that the figure doesn't gradually start inching closer and closer to his office.
everything's normal, right? Yeah, until things go sideways real quick. Did you catch that? It's subtle, but it's there. If you pull the brightness up a tad, you'll see it more clearly. Whatever's behind this doesn't want peace, it wants attention, and it's not stopping until it gets it. The night comes to an end and so does his nightmare, or so he thought. If you even have the courage to sleep at all tonight.